and welcome to the Chronicles of Yarnia, the podcast from Montclair's local yarn store. I am Jen, and I'm here with a very special guest to talk a little bit about temperature blankets. This is Cara, aka January 1. So say hi.
Hi everybody. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited.
I have so much to say.
We've just been chatting for a little bit beforehand, so I've gotten a preview of what you guys are going to see, and it's super, super awesome.
Okay, so that's this one. Should we? All right.
But let's see the other ones. So
okay.
While you do that, you grab the other ones. I'm just going to show you. This is, for example, me stalling out on my temperature blanket. I knew that I wasn't necessarily up for a granny square blanket, although I do really like the granny hexes. So I ended up doing linen stitch in crochet, and I decided to do it in fingering weight in a muted color palette. Voila. Which you guys may have seen from previous. And here's my color card.
What were your buckets?
My buckets. No, it makes sense. I started out with 28 to 32, 33 to 39, 40 to 45. So some of them are 5 and some of them are 6.
Were you doing like the average or?
I'm doing the average.
Okay.
Because
see, the average you have to skew higher because
you do.
Even if it's like 8 degrees out, and if the high is 20 or whatever, 30. Like the other day we had it was 6 degrees and then 30 degrees of a high. So your average was like weird.
You're like in the 20s and you're like, you can't go too low.
Yeah, you can't.
So it's like the lowest I think I've gotten in my averages is 19, and that's it. Yeah. So I basically tweaked it so as like the darkest color will be 32 and under.
Right.
The next lightest color, and the highest color is 82 and up. So, and then I did, because I did not get the worksheets, but like I have my notebook with all of my numbers. Let me tell you, I am terrible at doing averages and needed a calculator.
See, now on my thing, it just gives me an average.
Oh, nice.
And
see, that's the problem.
See, and sometimes the average is a little bit weird, and I'm always like, is this really the average? But whatever, I'm going with it because they're giving me the data, so I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just writing it down.
So, like, you need, like, this prep and, like, your color cards and the color card prep, and then, honestly, like, dumb luck that this basket 100% fits everything, so I can just be like,
is dumb luck.
Boom! And literally, after about February of last year, it just sat next to my TV where I could look at it and say, I should really get going on that.
So is this a blanket?
This is going to be a blanket. And I swatched and I measured because I wanted it to be throw-size blanket for our basement. So throw-size blanket as opposed to, that's why I went with fingering versus DK, because I realized 365 rows of linen stitch in DK was going to be like 7 feet.
Yes. Yes, that's another thing. I mean, if you go on this temperature blanket hashtag.
Yes.
I saw a picture the other day. I mean, God bless this person. This blanket took up their entire front room because it was so unbelievably huge. And in fact, for my blanket, for my circles, I had made a blanket with the circle. Actually, it was a circle in squares.
Yes.
But I had made, started with 16 stitches. So I don't know if you know, in crochet for a circle, what you do is you do 16 or however many stitches you have in your inner circle, then you double it for your second circle, and then I don't know what it's called. You do 2 1 2 1 2 1. So it's like
you add another third, I think.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah.
So it goes 12, 24, 36.
Yes.
So my original blankets that are the circle and the square, not the hexagon, are 16.
That's
and
big.
when I did one, I was like, this is too big. Because I'm going to have 368. Right. 368 of these is just going to be unbelievably huge.
Yes.
And it is a substantial blanket. It's not a small blanket, but it's nice.
But it's a good size blanket.
Yeah. It'll fit nicely. I mean, what's like a twin?
A twin is, it's 6 feet by 3.5 or something like that.
I don't know. But it'll, it'll probably lay nicely on a queen or a full or something like that. And
it'd be a good cozy throw for 2 people.
Yeah.
And I wanted a 1-person throw.
Yeah.
So again, you got to know what you want.
Yeah.
And this is where swatching, even though everybody hates swatching.
No, it helps. And also, I think where it really helps too is like, okay, if you can't be bothered with a swatch, how are you going to make some huge blanket? And honestly, for me, I knew I could never, ever, ever make a like crochet or knit like a long row.
Yeah.
It would just, I'd be done by like the second week of January.
You'd be like halfway through and be like, ugh.
I'm out of it. I'm out. I'd be bored out of my mind.
And I knew I could do a row. I couldn't do like a double row. A double row, I'd be like, oh my god, it's too much.
So also, like, I have this project at home that I was trying to help a friend figure out how she was going to do her temperature project, and I got all excited about it. So I decided to think about it for myself, and she wanted garter stitch, but she didn't want like to do the big garter stitch rows.
Yeah.
So I said to her, why not do garter stitch squares?
Yes.
Or like rectangles. So I figured it out that if I did like, actually I learned a lot about garter stitch, because garter stitch, you need a lot of rows to get like a square.
Yeah, it's 2 rows.
Yeah,
2 rows to
1 stitch.
2 to 1.
So what I figured out was, and actually this, if I can make this, is going to be a really cool idea. So I have like 60 stitches, and I'm going to do 120 ridges, which means double,
Which is 2 rows.
so it's a low and a high for each day, back and forth. I didn't bring it because
So a low one, 1 ridge low, 1 ridge high. So 4 rows.
4 rows, right?
Okay.
And I'm gonna end up, and then on the months that don't hit 31, I'm gonna just do like a neutral for those months.
Okay.
And I decided, actually, I was talking to Laura Jean about it. I decided I was going to do my birth year.
Ah.
And let me tell you something. I went back and I looked at the numbers in 1970, and it was cold. It was a lot colder, which is really weird.
It's weird.
So then I decided, and then I measured, because I have another blanket, I measured that 12 squares of 60 stitches and 120 is not going to get me the blanket that I want. It's not
Too
gonna be,
small or
it's
too big?
Too small for me. So then I thought, well, first I thought like, oh, maybe I'll do like my husband's birth year and put them together. But then looking at the numbers and how cold it was, I don't know if I have enough yarn for this, but I might do like 3 months or whatever, and a small like sample blanket kind of thing, and make it small. I'm going to do January of 1970 and January of 2020, 50 years later.
Oh.
And then maybe June or April of 1970 and April of 2020. And compare them and put them together.
Oh, I like
and then look and see how, and also what's funny is when I was looking at the temperatures, I have temperatures on the 1970, thing that will not show up on 2020. It will not get hot enough. And I have temperatures for 1970 that won't show up in 2020 because it won't get cold enough.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I know. It's kind of really.
That's really, and that's just 50 years.
That's just, 50 years is a long time.
50 years is a long time. But also, you're young.
Right. I'm very young. I'm a baby. But anyway, yes, so it was just totally crazy.
That is insane.
But also, like I said, you don't have to do a row of 300 stitches.
No.
To have some big blanket. You can do it in chunks.
Yeah.
And, it becomes portable, it becomes manageable, it becomes, okay, maybe if I have to sit down and do 30 rows of garter stitch in one day, over 60 stitches, I can catch up. Yes. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I have, 30 rows of 120 stitches or whatever, where I'm going to look at it and be like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, you're not going to get overwhelmed. And that's the thing. You really got to know that. But also the idea of kind of the historical temperature blanket. It doesn't need to be this year.
Oh, no, this is this one.
I was going to say, that's that one.
I'm about to throw it.
But like, this is such a good, especially if you're not somebody who can, wait and then do, if you just want to get going and do the whole thing.
So, in a real-time blanket, like I talked about how I was waiting for it to get cold because I wanted the colors to shift. Well, guess what? I can't control the weather. Yeah. I mean, it was like a nail biter there for a minute.
And I was really come on, Blue.
I was really getting kind of like
anxious?
A little pissed off about it. I mean, not anxious, and obviously that's the beauty of this project is that you don't know what's coming. You just do what you're told every day. And I do. I mean, I cannot tell you how much I love my end product. I mean, I
think
really,
it's so beautiful.
I'm so happy with it. And, but at the same time, when you do it for a historical time, I mean, it doesn't even have to be like one straight year.
No.
It just so happens that being born on January 1st,
It's really handy for you.
you can be
December 5th. It would be a little like skewed.
you can do it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year.
Right.
It's kind of weird how it works out that way. Right. But you don't have to do that. Like, for instance, this blanket right here. Okay, it's not finished yet because I was doing like just racing through months and months at a time, and I think I got. Oh, also I realized I forgot a circle, so I have to rip back like this last row. I think it goes somewhere like right here.
Right.
And honestly, what happened was I realized that, and I put it down, and I was like, oh.
You're like, I got it.
Can you beat me? Can you beat me here? It's like,
this is where you're just like, oh, man.
yes. So, and honestly, I don't really have a deadline. I mean, so it just sat there, but I do have to get back to it. And I mean, I guess this is good, but I made this is for my nephew, who turned 2 in November. So this is for the first year of his life. So it starts, I think this is the beginning. I don't know where it is. It starts at November 10th, 2019, and it will go to, I'm actually going to do, first of all, it was a leap year.
Oh.
And because it went over a leap year.
Yeah.
And also, I am going to do his first birthday. So I'm going to do the extra day. So it'll be November 10th, 2019 to November 10th, 2020.
Okay, so it'll be 367.
So there will only be one blank thing.
Oh, that's
at the end, and I'm going to somehow try to like embroider like
that's where you
his
should
initial or something like that.
I was going to say you should put it like his name, the year,
whatever,
your name,
or some kind of tag. I might sew a tag on the back or something. But in that one thing, I might just try to put like his
a little something.
So in consultation with my sister, we were talking about a palette. Now she's very super cool, so you know, we didn't want like a traditional rainbowy thing. And so what I did was, and if you look on my grid, you can see how I did this because I didn't bring the info, but she told me that his favorite book was The Runaway Bunny.
Love that book.
So I went and picked up a copy actually at Watch On Booksellers right on the corner.
Best booksellers.
And I flipped through the book, took my color cards from Laura Jean, Knitted Wit, and I matched up the colors to the illustrations in the book.
Which is why you have this amazing, like, it's still multicolored, but it's cohesive. It's not Roy G. Biv. And it's, like, it feels very, I mean, you did a great job matching the colors.
Thanks.
Like, as soon as you said Runaway Bunny, I mean, I worked in children's books, I remember it.
Yeah.
But, like, it 100% has that vintagey flavor.
Yeah. So now, further to make this a personal blanket, my sister lives in California. So I chose the, it's funny, and this is another thing when you're choosing your temperatures, like we were talking about how I'm using Newark Airport, which is literally 9 miles away from here. What was I going to say? She lives technically in LA.
Oh.
Okay? But she's about as far from, like, LA as you can be because she's, like, right on the edge at Pasadena.
Okay, so you're going to pick, like, LA Center?
Which is, like, nothing to do with where she is.
Yeah.
So I actually, and we picked Pasadena and she said that's good because that's aspirational. So I picked Pasadena. Now, Pasadena's temperatures are way different than New Jersey.
Yeah.
And so the thing that's good about a historical blanket is I had all the data up front. So
makes it a lot easier if you want to just like binge it.
And not only can you binge it, but you can manipulate how your blanket is going to turn out way easier than you can with a real-time blanket. Because my sister told me that she wanted the pinks and the reds to be prominent in the blanket.
This one is gorgeous too.
So I made sure that I looked at all the data. I actually like really crunched the data. I like took all the temperatures. I put them into I exported them into an Excel spreadsheet. I forget where I got the data from. I can't remember.
You can find historical
find
weather
data like
pretty
because
easily.
I had all the data up front. I was able to export it into Excel and literally like make the buckets of okay, how many between 60 and 70 are there, and how many between like I so this way I knew which temperatures to pick that were going to show up the absolute most. So you can see like the pinks and the reds are either the outside, the inside, through the entire year.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that you can only do that if you have the data up front.
Because if you don't know if it's going to be a cold year or a hot year.
I know when I went to go pick my buckets for my 2022 blanket, I knew like for instance, in the Northeast, right? This between like sort of like 40 to 70.
That's your sweet spot.
Or 40 to 6 or like 45 to like 65. You're going to get that all year round.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already had 65 degrees in like January.
Which is insane.
So we can get that as a high. We can get that as, you know, obviously in the summer it can be the low or the average and like
yeah.
So those colors I picked, I'll show you like purples because I knew I love this purple so much and I was like, oh, this will show up a lot, you know.
Well, and that's also where it's really handy if you have the color cards or if you're in the store or whatever and you're looking and you're saying, I really want this color to show up the most.
Right.
Then you can be like, all right, I'm going to put that in the center of my range. Can you show the color card for this one? Because I
don't have the color card.
Oh, you don't have the color card for this one. All right, that's right.
I'm sorry.
But the thing is that you don't have to pick a spectrum. You don't have to go according to the spectrum. You can pick like a pink goes next to a green if you like that combo.
I will show this. So for this, this is my 2022 color chart. And I absolutely did not Roy G. Biv this one.
No.
Because I knew that I wanted, like, these colors.
This is going to be your sweet spot.
This is 62 to 65. This is 66 to 69. Here's my, like, you know, all these reds.
That's going to be
are going to show up, yeah. And also, like, you know, my top colors, if they don't show up a lot, I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Although it turns out it's showing up way more than I thought, but
that's the thing when you're doing it
and
at
you know, and I didn't want, I had the rainbow in the right order and everything, and I did want another rainbow. I was not gonna, I wanted it, but this one's like way brighter. It's
you can pick different things. So I know there are some people who are like, no, I want like a true Roy G. Biv. Here, I'll hold it up a little bit. And actually, I just realized. Let's adjust the camera slightly. There we go. So you can see.
Yeah, so I have the greens or the cold right now.
Which I love that.
Like
the
and
green as
you know,
the
like you don't have, you know, there's no rule that says like the blues have to be cold.
Yeah,
I think the blues really hot.
I love the blues are hot because you know what, blue is my favorite. Like I love a teal.
So anyway, this is like I think I'm at like June or July. So but I was doing like I'd sit down and do a whole month
because you can
because I have and I was just like whipping through it, and then I said I forgot.
And then you put it aside, and then
I can go back to it. And you know what's funny? So this will be really interesting because my oldest daughter saw this and was like, "I want exactly the same thing, in exactly the same colors. I want you to make it for me." And I was like, "Okay."
But it's gonna look
so different. Also, she wants like the greens to be prominent. So I'll switch it around. She just likes all the colors. She doesn't care about the, you know. So, and also her year, she's 14, so and New Jersey. So it'll be like super different.
So
I'll have to make the buckets different.
Range.
Right. I'll just, because that was another thing. Because it's Pasadena, right? Like the low temperature, I think the lowest I should have brought it, I'm so sorry.
No.
I think the lowest temperature I used was like 45 degrees.
Oh my god, that's insane.
And the highest was like 105 or something like that. Or like 100, right? So also, I think this is 18 colors. And I wanted to make sure that they were all going to get used, you know, in a good way.
Yeah.
So I think I like combined, like at the top end and the bottom end, I did like maybe a couple 5-degree differences. But then all through the middle, I did like 3-degree differences.
Yeah.
To like really be able to change frequently.
And you can
because there aren't
really
that many
manipulate it.
temperatures.
Right.
You know, like we're going 19 degrees to 100 degrees, and they have like cut out like a whole six
A whole run. If they don't go below 40, that's a good chunk of our year.
Exactly. Like we have 3 months where we're in the 40s.
I was like, I'm still deep in the 40s in mine.
Yeah.
And it's like,
so,
3 months there.
but that's the whole thing about it. You can manipulate it any way you want. As much as you're making all these rules before you start, there are no rules.
That's the thing. You're the one making it.
You're making the rules, right? And I'll tell you, I'm one of those people who like loves that idea that I've done this with so many projects in my life. You do all this work, you get all the rules done, you get it all set up, and then you can just sit back and all you have to do is just do the work.
And then it just flows.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, this is what I'm doing now.
I think that's the beauty of prep. In some ways, you do all of the work up front when you're still like, I'm psyched for this project. And then you're just like, and then it just goes.
And I know someone is going to say to me, I can see it in your eyes, even though I can't see you, what about all the ends?
Right.
Okay. So,
that is an excellent question, though.
So, I don't know if you can see. So, each one has this little end sticking out in the middle, which is obvious, because that's where you start your circle. But when you crochet your circle in a magic loop, I mean, if you could see this, you could see, you've crocheted over the end already.
Yeah.
So really all I need to do is just snip this off. And then all the other ends I have crocheted as I've been going.
You crochet around them as you go.
You crochet around them as you go. So really, all of these ends are already...
You haven't woven in. You haven't woven in anything.
No, I've already done it as I'm working.
As you're doing it. And then how do you attach the two together?
It's a join as you go.
Okay.
I actually have videos of me doing it.
Awesome.
On my Instagram. So I actually have the entire thing. I have videos of me making the the first circle, the second circle, the third circle, and attaching the hexagon. So, and eventually I'll put up a circle on how to do the half hexagon. I'm not a professional video maker, but people have told me that they're helpful, so hopefully.
There you go. So check her out at January 1 on Instagram. But so all you have to do is snip the center.
All I have to do is snip it. But you know what?
That's so satisfying.
I'm probably not ever going to snip them.
I'm just going to leave them.
I don't really care. Well, if you want to know a really, really deep, dark secret, which is really kind of awful. Well, this one, actually, that's not true. On this one, I will cut the ends because this is a gift.
But that one?
That one, I will never cut the ends. And you know what else? It's probably going to go in a bag and sit in my room where all the other blankets that I've ever made in my life sit, and no one ever uses them.
No one ever uses them?
No one ever uses them. Because you know what? My kids are awful. And if I put that on my sofa, it will be ruined in like 30 seconds.
Oh my God, you're going to have like...
And also,
soda on it.
Here's the really, 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 really true thing about it, is that I don't really care. Because, no, I don't really care once it's done. To me... it is all about the making.
You are totally 100%
100% the process. I absolutely don't care if this ever gets used. But again, I will never give it away. So don't suggest that I give it away.
You're like,
it's
no,
like
it's
my
not.
art. Yes, I won't give it away. It will sit in a bag, out of sight, out of view. Now, if I had room in my house, honestly, I would get one of those like
the blanket
quilt thing.
Yeah, like a ladder.
But I really don't have I don't have good wall space in my house. It's really
It's a hard thing. I guarantee you, your kids are going to end up fighting over those blankets at some point. The question is, are they going to take it to college? At which point you're going to be like, somebody's going to throw up on this.
Well, my older daughter, like I said, my older daughter wants this blanket.
Yes.
So if I make it for her and it's a gift, then she can do whatever the hell she wants with it. I don't care.
Right.
But the thing that belongs to, and honestly, I'm a really selfish knitter. But if it's in my head before I even started, like the minute I started planning this, I knew it was never going to be mine. It's my nephew's. And I have thought about him. I've thought about my sister when I showed it to her over the summer.
This is all for him.
Yeah. It's not mine. It's just, so I have no problem. And I told her, if it gets messed up, I don't care. I want him to love it. I want him to use it.
Well, and I'll tell you, the Knitted with DK is superwash. So you could technically
I guess.
wash it.
I mean, I don't know if it's
I wouldn't
like
necessarily
run or whatever. I don't really care. And... you know, I just want him to love it and whatever, and it's his, and, you know, forever. I don't care what he does with it. And his Aunt Cara made it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And for my kid, if she wants one, and I end up making it for her, we'll see how it works. I do have the yarn for it. she can use it however she wants. It's so funny because I said to my younger daughter, I'm like, do you want one? You know, and she was like, no.
No.
She's like, I don't care at all. I don't want it.
I have one of those.
And I was like, okay,
He's
fine.
like, nah,
I only have to make one.
I'm like, great.
So
she's the one who's gonna, like, in her 20s, she's gonna be like, can I have that one?
Yeah,
and you're gonna be
exactly.
like, no, that's mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You're like, I made it for me.
So anyway, so that's my deep dark secret is that, you know, I don't use them. It'll go in a bin. I'll
They're
finish
gorgeous.
it. So it's fine. It's all right.
But then
I
you
don't
can take
care.
them out and look at them and be like, look at my art.
I
It's
do.
amazing.
Sometimes I do.
I think
do
you should.
that.
But you are going to display. There's another one that you're working on.
Yes.
Let's look at the embroidery one.
So, oh my god. Okay, now this I'll frame this.
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to do an embroidery project. I don't know if you can see it so well. It's so
there you go.
I had seen a few embroidery projects, temporary temperature projects on you know, Instagram when I was looking around, and I had saw this one woman had this one idea. It's a little weird warp here.
And just yank on it. It'll be.
And I saw it, and I was gonna copy it, and it was like satin stitch on the outside was chain stitch, and she had done one thing for the whole year, and I still wanted to use all my colors and do 3 rings or whatever, and I tried all different ways, and I made like kind of a swatch embroidery panel where I did all different kinds of circles, and somehow I was like messing around, and I made just a chain stitch circle, and I was like, whoa, I really like how that looks.
Yeah.
And it took me like 5 seconds to do, and I was like, I really like this, and then I made a bunch of them. And I really liked how they looked. And then I realized that I could fill in the circle if I wanted to embellish it, like for my birthday, or I'm super obsessed with evil eyes. And I figured out how I could do like a French knot evil eye in the middle.
Ooh.
So that like would show up every now and again. And it just like I really, 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 really fell in love. And then I thought, well, I'll just do a big circle. I had to buy like big protractors and stuff.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, because if you
draw my
look
circle.
at this, like this circle is perfect.
Yeah,
it is.
so
like,
I found
perfectly divided.
I found a 12-inch protractor, and then I got
that's
like a half
perfect.
protractor to like draw the line.
Well, I'll tell you what I would also suggest is that if anyone wants to do something like this, where they're doing sections of a pie, you can go to a ceramic store or order from a ceramic store. They have decorating discs that are divided.
Oh, really?
Yes. Into degrees, so you can literally so you can plot it out, and it's just like a big circle of plastic. It's kind of like a protractor.
And how do you? Oh, and you just draw over
and
it.
You can either draw over it, or you can. Some of them have circles, or you can just do tick marks on the side and the center. I know that's because I do ceramics. But it's good. It's if you want to divide it up even further from 12, like you could do vertical lines of weeks, right?
Oh, like, see, I was trying to figure out how I could do this. Anyway.
Oh, like a spiral?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, not a
yeah,
spiral,
no,
but
work.
like, you know, like the rows to make them. But I like that it's wonky a little bit.
I like that it's like this, because also, like, the months aren't even.
Right, so there's going to be white space, whatever. So anyway,
Right.
That's my thing. And then I, you know, this is my color chart. Oh, so this is just averages. I'm only picking the average of the day. And I went to 24 and below as my top.
That's a good one, because I found that there are very few.
I've actually used it quite a few times.
Yeah.
And again, I chose the top colors. Oh, and then for the highest is only 85 and above.
Yeah,
because the average won't get that high.
Because the average, even if you're at like 100 degrees,
you're still not gonna.
You're still at the low of like 78, which is still really hot. But like,
and I actually went and I looked. This one came out. I actually looked at you know, I looked at my last year's temperatures.
Yeah, that gives you a good idea. I mean,
it's not going to be perfect, but oh well, here I'll talk about it. So like for the blanket, right?
So this is this year's blanket.
This is this year's blanket. So this is this year's blanket. And knitted weight again. So this was funny because I looked at my old blanket and I was like, I only used the 19 below 4 times. So I'm not going to do that again. And I moved it up to like 24 and below or something like that. And I made it so... And I added an extra color this year. And I also was like, all right, I'm not going to go to 95 above either. I'm only going to do like 90 and above. Okay?
Okay.
Which made everything kind of crunch down.
Yes.
Plus I added an extra color. So I made my buckets much smaller. Or like, I think they were like 4 degrees instead of 5 degrees, but some of them were 5 degrees at the tops and the bottom. Just so like, it would be more of a, I was trying to get a more like sort of even dispersion of color.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened? It got really freaking cold here.
Got cold.
So I have. So
it was like
last time I used
0.
the top. So I had to redo the colors. I added back 19 and below
because
which I've already used
up.
10 times. Like ridiculous. Like
and it's not
times.
even that far into January. That's the other thing.
No,
like,
I have already used it double what I used last year.
That's crazy.
In the first 2 weeks of January.
That's amazing. I mean, but this is the thing. Like, you can, if you're setting the rules, you can
change
adjust
them,
the rules
absolutely.
as you go.
So I made like an audible at the last minute, and then because I was like, oh, you know it's going to get hot now, because I took off the hot color, so I added the 95 back
just in case.
Yeah, and again, there's only 2 colors in this chart that I used in 2020.
I love that. So it'll be a totally different.
It will be an absolutely totally different blanket, and key lime and icebreaker are the 2 that I used. And actually, because it's hand-dyed yarn, like the key lime,
it's not going to look the same.
It's not going to look the same anyway.
But that's also the nice thing. Like, you don't necessarily have to buy all of your yarn at once, because if you're doing it bit by bit, right? Like, you end up at the end of the year, if you run out of yarn, you can be like, oh no, I need that color again. It's all right, because it's not going to be right next to
No, it's not going to be right next
color.
to it. I mean, I'm a little bit crazy, so I got all my... I mean, like, look
I like
this.
having it all in hand.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love the red one.
So this is like January 1st.
Because it was warm.
Because it was really warm. And this is January 2nd. I forget which one is which.
Crazy.
But, you know, the rest of them are all like, it's these yellows. Oh my god.
I love the orange.
Knitted Wit has this color, this yellow. It's called Dirty Bird.
Yes.
It's like amazing.
It's
and
such a gorgeous
with the greens.
color.
And like, these will be my, you know, winter colors. Which is just super cool.
There we go.
And like this is Peachberry Sparkle, the outside color.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
And I'm not normally a coral person.
So I'm just like super, and here's like a really cold day. This is a 20 below the whole day. Look at that. The double in the middle for 19 and below. So the average and the low were 19 below.
That is insane.
I never had that like at all.
So cold.
So yeah, so we're having like a little cold spell in New Jersey right now, and,
yeah,
and made me adjust my colors, which is fine. I'm super happy about it.
But I love that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and that's the other thing. It's like, so you have, this is a good example of like your process, right? You have all of these circles. You're going to end up joining them. Well, edging them and joining them?
Yeah, yeah. So the thing is with the hexagons, and join as you go. I don't know if you've ever done join as you go. Okay, yeah. So your hexagon you're making as you're joining.
Yeah.
So you don't make the hexagon first. You make like one little section of it, and then the rest of it gets made as you're joining it.
Yeah. So that's why you pick that edging color.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so for this blanket, when I'm actually still haven't settled on the background color. Well, the background's going to be naked, just like this blanket. It's just, I mean,
it's
look how different it's going to look.
It's a great cream.
And I wanted to do it because I think it's just going to really pop.
Oh, it really will. I mean, you can look at this, like the pink one.
Yeah.
Against the cream.
And it will also like just sort of like kind of mute the pink a little bit too.
It will. It'll bring it down.
And you know, like this is just going to be so cool. Like,
oh, gorgeous.
And the you know, like the yellow. It's just going to be really nice.
It's really,
and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use like a very faintly speckled yarn for like special days, like my birthday. You know, here's what I found out about when you have a birthday on January 1st. Like you got to wait. I haven't decided. Oh my god, this other the last project I'm going to show you. Everybody was putting beads on their like for special days, like crystals and stuff, because Sarai is very into crystals and everything. She does a lot of jewelry and everything like that. And I just wanted to get started.
Yeah,
I would have had to wait forever. I couldn't get any on my own, and I was like, all right, well, my project won't have beads because I can't do any beads for my birthday.
Can you sew them on after the fact? But that's not as fun as like knitting.
Yeah. But like seriously, I was like, well, I'm gonna have to wait forever. I want to just get going on this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I will do like a little speckle hexagon for like my birthday, for my kid's birthday, or any day that I feel like I want to change it up.
A little special thing to
Yeah, and I think I'm going to use the background colors from the 2020 blanket for each of the solstices, and equinoxes. Is that correct? Is that how we say it?
I think so.
And so that's what's going on there. And then I have my one last project. Ooh,
So these are all crochet so far.
yeah,
but
those are crochet. I have my embroidery, and now this
now you got the knit one.
is my knitted. This is knitted.
So this is the test knit.
This I'm doing a test knit, and
Look at that.
it's knitted, and it's going to be a like sort of Ruana wrap thing shawl. Soraya is doing, it's called like the climate change wrap, and she's only doing high temperatures.
Nice.
All the testers are from like different parts of the world.
Oh, so they're going to be so
Really different.
Oh, that's
like
going to be
someone
really
in
cool.
like Oslo and me,
Wow.
and I don't know if there's anybody in like super warm weather. I can't remember, but so it's knitted, and it's like, you know, it's not that, and it's so you do a back and a forth a day.
Okay.
And each month will change the stitch pattern.
Just
Which is
such a
kind of
great
really
concept.
cool. Yeah. And I gotta tell you, it's like so nice to be knitting again.
Yeah.
It's like really, this is like the perfect thing for me because it's not, you know, straight stockinette. It's
Yeah.
a lot of purling, which I love to purl. I know I'm a weird person, but I love to purl. So, and it's like bobbles, and I learned how to like
Weave
knit
in
my
as you
ends
go.
as I go.
Weaving in as you go is key, I think.
Especially on a project like this where there's just 1,000 ends.
Yeah,
You're
you're
changing
literally-
colors constantly.
Yeah.
So this is a game changer, being able to do this. I have
Love the bobble texture here is so gorgeous.
I have a lot of colors here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
25. Okay.
25 colors for
Fingering
this one.
weight?
Fingering weight.
Okay.
I don't know. Also, if you know me, I have a ton of Blue Moon Fiber Art Socks that Rock stash.
Yeah.
And obviously, let's be honest, I spent a lot of money on the yarn for the blankets, my knitted weight yarn. So when Sarai asked me to do this, I was like, okay, but I have to do stash.
Nice.
Because I can't afford it.
I'll tell you, that is another thing about the fingering weight.
So anyway, I was like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I literally have bins of Socks and Rock yarn, sock yarn. Bins. I'm not talking like one bin or two bins.
Multiple.
I'm talking like maybe 3-4 bins that I've collected over the past almost 20 years, 18 years. Yeah. I've been kind of like a little bit of a Socks and Rock whore, a little.
No,
I don't know.
that's fine.
But anyway.
I mean, it's gorgeous.
So I went through all my bins and I pulled out a rainbow. I mean, it's a very like cool rainbow. It's
So you
different.
shopped that whole thing from Stash?
Stash. This is
That's
all stash
amazing.
yarn. This is all stash yarn. And let me tell you, I could have.
You're like, I could have do another
50
color.
colors. Yes, exactly. And then
You're
I
like my second one will
exactly. So this is all stash, and you know, I got some variegateds in there. I got some solids in there, and
I love it too because if you look at it, it's definitely still a rainbow.
it's definitely a rainbow, but it's much more muted, and it's much more.
It's muted. It's a little bit like darker,
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
grayed rainbow, but
Yeah.
also like in your these are the 70s, and then the 60s and 70s. So you're going to get a lot of this,
Yeah, it's gonna be nice.
which I think will be really,
Yeah. It's gonna be pretty.
really beautiful. And it starts with all like the purpley.
Yeah, and the blues and like.
yeah. It really was cold.
And I'll tell you, like, so these are the averages. Oh no, sorry.
High temp.
These are the high temp.
The high temp.
So I only started at 33 because even your
high temps.
even our high temps, even on days where we go to like a low of 10.
Yeah.
We haven't been that, like our high maybe we've been like 20. I mean, there's only been
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 days that have been that cold.
But usually it's above.
It's not, it's above 30, right? So, you know, like one day I thought was going to be really, really cold, and I ended up having to go to like the 37. This one, I thought that was going to be a really cold day, And then here's like the tan. That's the top one. So this was,
Yeah.
you know,
That was the cold.
yeah. All the well, there's been
Like
a lot of
20
them. So like
degrees.
this 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4
same.
that have been under 33 degrees. And
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's been cold, but I love how
so yeah,
like you can see how warm it was on January 1.
yes, that was a really
And then like
I think that was like rosemary. It was either this one,
yeah, that looks like it.
Rosemary Rocks. It was like 55.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But then it went real cold.
Oh
real
no!
quick.
Here, the next day, this one is between 58 and 60.
Yeah.
And then it went really cold, 34s. This is 34s.
But I love the like use of like the tonal and the variegated in that. I think that's going to make it like really cool. And I love the idea of different stitch patterns for each month.
Yeah, it's so
like
nice.
I think that's
And this
such
is,
a
like-
good, I don't know, delineation.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I'll tell you, this is like so the blanket I work on, you know, every couple weeks.
Mhm.
And for me, in my daily activities and everything, I'm doing the 2 rows a day,
Right.
which, you know, takes me like 15 minutes, half an hour, except I keep screwing it up and I have to like rip it out and go back, which is good. I actually have been enjoying that, which is kind of funny, but absolutely true.
It's a
like
good way to
weird.
get back into the
Yes,
swing
I
of
like feel like I'm
something.
a knitter again, which is kind of
Yeah.
weird to say because it's not like I wasn't a knitter just because I wasn't knitting, but
Yeah.
I've so self-identified as like just a knitter for 20 years, and then all of a sudden I stopped knitting, and I was like, well, are you even a knitter anymore? Like, and it was just really, I don't know, it was a little bit,
It's a good way to get your mojo back.
yeah. And I love that it's like hard, but like not too hard that
Right.
I have to think about it. I sit and I sit still and I like don't watch TV. I mean, I just,
It's a challenge to sit and be present
yeah.
and do it.
And it's just 2 rows. I just do my 2 rows and then
Yeah,
I'm done.
And then you put it down.
And I am also doing the embroidery every day because literally that one little circle takes me 5 minutes. I love to make my circles. I love the sound of the needle in my very taut like.
Stab.
I love how to. I love
the
doing. I
stab.
do reverse chain stitch, and I like slipping it under and like so. And you know what? If I wanted to do more embroidery,
You
I could
could.
do more. I mean, I couldn't do more days on this, but you know, like I
You
could
could do
embellish.
another embroidery.
I could do. Yeah, I have other embroidery products. I have one I have to finish, but I finally figured out how to finish it.
But you could also, I mean, the nice thing about the embroidery too is that like each little circle is like a little bit at a time. So if you end up, if you do fall behind,
Well, I had to start this. I
And
started
catch
this
up.
late, so I did the first 15 days in one day.
Yeah.
You know, which was fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I do fall behind, it's totally not a deal breaker. I
Yeah.
can catch up easy. And even in this, I mean, if I had to knit, I mean, again, this I restarted. I found a mistake in the border and I couldn't handle
Oh,
it. So
no.
I actually did restart this. And it took me a little bit longer.
but it's only a couple rows.
No, it's not a big deal. And it, you know, I think I'd been like here and then I restarted it, but you know, it took me a couple days to get back to where I was. It's not like these aren't deal breakers if I fall behind.
Yes.
Which is like the problem I felt for me and like a blanket that was going to be 300 stitches or 120 stitches or something.
Yeah.
You know, across a row.
If
that
you fall
if
behind,
I
then
fell,
you feel
if
like,
I fell a month behind, I'd
"Ooh."
never catch up.
Yeah.
With this, I don't feel like if I fall behind, I can't catch up.
Well, and it's like with mine, for a while, like I was doing it one a day, and then I was like, I'm getting too antsy. I want to do
Yes,
3 days
right.
at a time, 4 days at a time. So I set it aside for a week, and then I did like a week at a time, and I was like, this is much better. And then I set it aside, and I got distracted because I'm like squirrel.
Right, right.
Like shiny things, new things. I cast on a sweater, whatever. But like the other thing is that I know that I'm okay with going back and being like, all right, so we're going to finish the 2021 blanket in 2022.
Exactly.
But now I can do a month at a time.
Yeah,
if I
it's-
want to, or I can do a day
yeah.
at a time.
Right.
Like
I
either
just
one
like
is fine.
there's no deadline on these things.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I happened to set a goal for myself to do it from
Yeah.
the start to the end, which was totally fine with me, and I mean, I was really proud of myself. I was like,
I'm
waiting
very
for it.
impressed.
And you know, it just worked out. But everybody's different. It's not like there's no race here. It's not like
You don't
know.
win a prize.
No, you don't, and it's
You're not going to get a medal.
and you're not supposed to be. It's not a competition, right?
Yes.
You're not going to get a medal, and it's not supposed to be stressful.
Yeah,
We're not. We do
we're
this
not
shit to
doing
like
brain
feel
surgery.
better. Yeah. So, but like I think I mentioned. I don't know. I find daily practices, especially in this time of such like uncertainty and upheaval and like craziness, I mean, my kids had half day for the first 2 weeks of school. Today's our first day. Full day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like this pivoting on a dime, you know.
It's hard.
And like, do we have COVID this week or do we not have COVID? You know, like whatever.
Right.
You know, like I have the days are like crazy outside of myself, but I have my, today I need to make a circle in my embroidery. Today I need to knit 2 rows.
Yes.
Today, I mean, okay, 2 weeks have gone by. I'm going to work on my circles now. I mean, like, I have the schedule in my head and I know what is, like, not really expected of me, but what, it's like my moments of pleasure that are going to happen today. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to make this circle.
I can count on it.
Yes, I can count on it. I know that this is what I need to get done today.
And these days we
in
can't
a good
count
way.
on it.
It's not like,
I can't count that my kid is going to go to school tomorrow.
Exactly.
Or that, something's... We don't have to be flexible about this.
No, I don't have to be.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like a routine.
Yes. I'm telling you, it's just so grounding to me. And I, like I said, I've been doing sort of daily projects, like 100-day projects or year-long projects or whatever for a few years now, maybe like 4 years now. And some of them I've been successful at, some of them I haven't. Embroidery, I'm very successful at. I've done multiple 100-day embroidery projects where I didn't miss a day.
That's amazing.
And missing a day, getting a day means maybe I made 2 stitches.
But it counts.
It counts. It totally counts.
Counts.
Like when you're doing projects like this or like trying to do a 100-day project, or I have found that make sure that whatever you're doing, you can do in under like 5 minutes.
Yes.
And you know what? You also have to like give yourself permission. If you miss a day, it's fine. It's not like you failed. Yeah. It's not like they're throwing you out or like you don't get to be in the club anymore. Or
exactly. Like you're not a bad person.
Yeah, you're not a bad person.
One of my former coworkers from publishing, and like again, I worked in children's books, so like we were literally making picture books and like novels and stuff. And he always had a great way of framing things in perspective whenever any of us like would start wigging out. Right, whether it was like a designer or an editor or whatever, be like, and he'd be like, we're not performing brain surgery.
No.
Nobody's gonna die if the next Froggy book doesn't get out the day you think it's gonna get out. But like also still do it on time. But like, what, like don't work yourself up to such a point that you're gonna like lose your complete shit.
And you have to remember too that like, these are things I want to do. These are like, it's not like I have to do the dishes every day or like the laundry's not going anywhere and I have to do that every day too.
It's still gonna be there. Kids keep wanting food.
Yeah, God.
Keep having to feed them every day, 3 times a day.
My kids are like, you're the parent. You're supposed to make the food. I'm like, whatever. You're 11 now. You can cook yourself.
I don't want to make the food for me.
Exactly.
I'm left to my own devices.
Oh
and my
God.
Frosted Flakes look delicious right now.
Exactly.
What do you mean you don't want that?
Exactly.
You want food?
Exactly.
And it's only worse with the pandemic because they're home.
No, it's terrible.
Oh,
I'll like not eat till 3 o'clock and be like, oh yeah, I was supposed to eat.
And you're like, oops. Sorry about that.
Oh my God. I know. It's really awful having to feed them. I had to make lunches for the first time today.
Oh my God.
It was terrible. Anyway.
That is the thing that I do miss most because neither one of my kids, like now the school lunches are free. And I was like, this is awesome. You can have school lunch. And they're both like, I don't want school lunch. And I was like,
oh, that would kill me.
You're going to make me make lunch for you?
That would kill me.
The older one now makes his own lunch because I was like, it's either that or you eat school lunch.
Ugh, God. I can't
do that to the 8-year-olds.
We don't really have school lunch, so.
No. Yeah, the 8-year-old's
you can buy lunch, I guess. I guess you could, I don't know, whatever. So,
but yeah.
Yeah, I had to make lunch today. That was stressful. I had to wake up like a literal half hour. When they were doing half day, I could like sleep late.
Right, and you're like, this is great. I'm telling you, make the older one make their own lunch. I was like, you make your own.
Then we never get out of the house.
No, he does it on like Sunday night.
No, I don't know if she could do that. I didn't do a good job at like teaching my kids anything.
Oh, I didn't either. I just like to arbitrarily lay down laws and then be like, and now you're following them. So anyway.
So like, my new favorite daily thing that I do, since Rhinebeck, I set up my wheel again.
Oh, spinning.
And I come home, I drop them off at school, and I come home, and I sit at my wheel for like an hour.
It's so nice.
And it's like not me scrolling on my phone. Because that hour would probably disappear anyway and I wouldn't do anything.
You'd be on like Facebook or Insta or TikTok.
I just sit down. I put like headphones on. My house is quiet. I don't know where my husband is. He's working somewhere because he's home too.
Whatever. He can go hide.
Exactly. And I just sit and I spin.
It's so nice.
It's so nice.
So at the beginning of the pandemic, I was not in a headspace for knitting, for crocheting, for anything that required any kind of effort, like, you know, other than like tamping down the immense panic. So spinning was perfect.
Oh my God.
Because it kept my hands busy.
Yep.
I did stuff. I made something.
And you have to pay attention.
You have to pay attention.
You
but
can't
you don't
like
have
kind
to
of think. No, you just have to like, but you can't just like, you can't look away.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not like...
Yeah, you can't. I mean, and I do find that, like, I guess it's become kind of a meditation thing because I will cycle through lots of thoughts while I'm doing it. I always find it funny because I won't remember what song I was listening to.
Because it just kind of zones out.
It's just in my head. Yeah. But that's really nice. So I have that, and then I have like a circle, and I have 2 rows of knitting, and if that's all I get done that day, then I am a rock star.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
There's something about, again, it's checking something off the list.
I did it. I did what I wanted to do. Yeah, I did what I set out to do today. These are my tasks, and I did them. And it
like,
just
you might be eating a banana for lunch, but I did my job. I got my knitting done. That's my priority.
And you know, but it's like, and it's art too. I'm making art every day, which, you know.
It's being creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing with color. We all love, I mean.
Oh my God. I'm addicted
who doesn't love
color.
playing with color?
I'm addicted to it. There's just like nothing better.
It really is.
As I wear my black. And,
oh, please. I'm in gray. I mean, I have pink on today, but like.
But yeah, it's really, it's just so. And I love too with the temperature blankets, you know, with doing the 3 colors is like, you don't know what combinations are going to come up some days. You know?
And you have some gorgeous combos in there that you wouldn't normally put together.
And you know, you can't do it. I mean, I can't do it ahead of time. I mean, or I don't do it ahead of time. I guess you could do it ahead of time.
You could really plan it out, but I feel like...
But it's just so fun to just see what happens.
But also, even if you planned it out, so if you're like, okay, I'm going to have all shades of blue in this, but there's going to be that day. There's going to be that day that starts at like 0 degrees and ends up going to 60 or something like that. And you'll be like, I never
didn't
expected
anticipate that cut. Yeah.
Right. And
I mean, I like it being a surprise. Look, I picked every single one of these colors will look good together with each other. So it's not like it's, you know, there's ever going to be a clunker, but it is kind of like, oh, surprise sometimes.
What's today?
Yeah.
I love it.
And even with like the historical blanket too, you know, some of these, like, I love this one. There's some combinations that I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Because you think, I mean, you can look at the numbers, but you can't necessarily until you actually do it. And then you're like, oh.
And honestly, when you, like, especially for the historical blanket, you know, by making your bucket so small,
you get a lot.
Like you know, this could be 60 and this could be like 62.
Right.
And they're different.
You get a lot of variety and you don't get a lot of like, you know, all one color.
I mean, you like this one's a repeat, but they're not like super repeats.
They're not super repeats.
Especially because you know why? The average shifts things a lot too. Yeah.
Because that's the thing, like within, especially.
I like this one.
Oh, this one is beautiful. The teals and the blue and the rose. Oh, I mean, but that is the nice thing. Like the more colors that you pick, you can.
Oh, here's
really
one. There's like 4 in a row that are the same.
Ah, California.
Okay,
man.
Forget that. Forget what I just said.
No, but you know what? There's still so much variety over the whole thing.
Yeah.
That even like when you see the ones that match, like your eye doesn't go like, oh, they all match.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's more like, oh, that's.
And here, like these are different. They're the same, but they're a little off.
Yeah, they're a little different. I love it.
Yeah, and it's funny how it's like shifted this, you know, when it got hot and it shifted to the purples and the blues, but still those reds are there.
Those reds are definitely there and they're definitely still prominent because you got them in there and you get them in there.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I don't think it's going to shift back as much because November's still hot.
November is
in California
because it's
oh my God, we went to visit her in the first week of December and it was like everybody in California was wearing coats and like literally we went to a cafe and they had like, do you want the heaters? And it was 65 degrees. No. And my sister and I are like, what?
Like, we're from the East Coast.
Like,
No.
what?
No.
Like, heaters?
This is warm.
It's 65. Like, what do you
My kids
were
would
so
be
happy.
in shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
They'd be like, woo!
They're like, do you want the heaters? We're like, no.
No. You can't do that. You can't do
God,
that.
you're crazy. But
That is insane.
yeah, so I don't think
I
it's
love
gonna
it.
it's gonna shift to this so much. But I'm okay with that.
I love it.
I'm okay with that.
And it really is. Like, go pull up a copy of the Runaway Bunny.
If you
and you'll
look on my
see
grid-
it looks like this.
If you look on my grid, it's definitely I show how I did it. Actually, there's a picture in the
in the
I think in the article, the
in
Modern
the
Daily
Modern
Knitting,
Daily Knitting article. Yes.
of the book and the blanket and the color card.
I love it. That's such
So-
it's such a great way to do it and to like pick. your
Yeah,
favorite
and like
book.
you can pick your colors also on Instagram there's lots of palettes, like
Yes.
movie palettes.
So
or
if
like,
you're not sure and you don't know what to do, because I feel like that might be something that intimidates folks.
Yeah,
is like, how do I pick the colors?
Yeah, there's
But
like,
it's
I forget what the like if you do the hashtag color palette,
Yeah.
there's like whole accounts that like just pull colors.
Yeah.
And like they'll have like a still from a movie and then they'll have like 7 colors across the bottom.
and you can just go with those colors.
yeah, or like start there and add a couple different ones that you like.
Throw
you
in
know,
some more.
Yeah.
Pick your favorite color for like a range of temperatures that you know is going to happen a lot.
Totally.
But yeah. Well, this was so awesome. Thank you for coming and chatting.
Thank
This
you.
was great,
Thank
and
you.
I love the show and tell, and I might just like swath myself in your temperature blankets. So just as a reminder, you can find January 1 on Instagram
It
as
smells
January_1.
O-N-E.
Smell good.
Spelled out
O-N-E.
O-N-E.
O-N-E. And then check out her article on Modern Daily Knitting about
Yes.
temperature blankets.
If you go to January 1 Instagram, I have a link tree and it's linked there too.
Yes. So do link in bio.
Um,
Anything else you want to add? Thank you so much.
no.
We love Laura Jean.
If you do a temperature blanket, tag me. I love
Yes.
to see them. There's just so much fun, and everyone's
much fun.
different. It's such a personal project.
It really is.
I mean, even if you use somebody else's pattern or you use like the same colors, nobody lives in the same exact spot. Nobody's
Right.
like, they're just so individual. And it's like, especially in these days, it's such a nice, I made it through a year.
Yeah. I survived a year.
And here's the
This is an
proof, because
accomplishment.
I have a blanket that I made and it's
Blanket.
done and it's a whole year of my life.
It's
just
a whole-
so cool.
That is the nice thing. It's like it's a year of your life in something that you can hold on to.
Oh, and let me just say this too. I mean, I know this is primarily for Yarnia people, but in case other people see it, I wrote about this in the article too. Like, what happens if you live in Hawaii and
Yeah.
the temperature never changes? Well, like, be creative then.
Pick something else.
Like dew point or like humidity
Dew point.
or something like that.
Humidity is
Like,
good.
just
Rainfall.
or like, or choose the year you like went to New Jersey for vacation or, Paris or whatever. You don't have, it doesn't
You
have
can
to be.
commemorate a year.
Yeah, you can, you can commemorate a year. You can pick a year, your personal year. You can pick something that's special. I know people who are making them for their grandchildren
That's a great idea.
for like the year that their grandkid was born.
But yeah, there's so many ways you can vary
It's
it.
endless how
Yeah.
you can do it. It really is just such a
It's really great.
yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's like if you keep a diary of, in any way, this is like, it's a physical diary.
And I have to say, I'm not so like, Sarai's project is really focusing on the climate change aspect of it. And well, yes, it is really interesting to see that that's not really what my focus was. It was just like, I mean, some people do like a mood blanket, and honestly, mine would just be black all the time. So like, I can't do a mood blanket. Or also, when do you choose the mood? Is it
Right.
when you woke up and you're screaming at your kids to get ready from school?
Right.
Is it
it
like
pre-coffee? Is it
right?
post-coffee?
Is it like the hour
Is it
after I
bedtime?
spent? Like I was at my wheel for an hour,
Yeah.
and now I'm like kind of blissed out a little bit, or like after I exercise, or who knows. So I could never choose something like that. But there's just so many different parameters that you could use for a project like this.
Yes.
You
But I
know,
think
I like the temperatures because I don't have any control over it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I've made all the decisions up front.
There's no
That
judgment.
now I don't have to think.
You don't have to use your judgment
Yeah,
in
I
any
don't have
way
to
because
choose-
you've already set it up.
Yeah, I've made all my judgments at the beginning,
And then you just look.
And then I just look and I do.
And you see, okay, this number, this.
There's literally no, I don't have to, because let's be honest. Our lives now are so full of decisions. Like, is it safe to be here? Is it safe for my kid to go there? Is it, you know, should I do this today? Should I do that today? You know,
it's decision fatigue.
So much decisions being made. And I mean, I'm actually good at making decisions, but it's just too much.
Right. But
I'm
sometimes
exhausted.
you want to just not even be told what to do, but like, you know, here are the rules. Here's what it is laid out. And then I can do it. I can just do it. It's great.
I know, it's fun.
I love it.
I know. I'm super psyched about them.
I
I know it's a
really
little
do.
bit weird to be like, oh,
I don't think it's weird at all. But I
Crazy
mean, like,
about-
this is the thing. Like, preaching to the choir, right?
but it definitely, I don't know, it definitely sparks something in me. So
I think so.
And I tend to get really passionate about stuff. So I'm happy that this is it, because it is just fun and it's colorful and
It's fun. It's colorful. It's meditative. It's
it's just really
it's good for your soul.
yeah,
Right.
yes, I really believe
I
that.
think so too.
I know it sounds goofy a little bit, but I'm not
Yeah,
really like that.
I'm not really woo woo.
No,
but
me
like,
neither. But I do feel like it has you know, it's changed me
yeah,
and helped me,
yeah.
you know. So
I mean,
anyway.
that's really kind of what we all need in this day and age.
And they're just so
It's
damn pretty.
They're so pretty and like tactile and like the way the knitted weight crochets up is just like I'm sitting there like,
just
squashing
as
it.
I don't like, people always ask me what size crochet hook I use.
Yes.
It's which I've only bought from you guys.
Yay.
I have like 10 of them.
Yeah.
Every time I come in,
'Cause they get
I
lost.
lose them so many times.
There, you'll find them in your sofa.
It's
Get more than one.
it's a size. It's the Likey
Yes.
size 7.
What is that? I don't even
It's
know.
like a
Crochet
weird-
hooks have weird sizing.
So no, it's usually letters,
Yeah.
but somehow the 7 is like I don't even have one with me.
It's probably like what?
3.5.
I was gonna say 3.5
So
millimeters.
it's in between like a G and a H, I think, something like that.
Yeah. So, and that makes a really nice gauge.
Yeah, it's like
It's dense, but not too dense,
No,
but not
and-
stiff.
yeah.
It's drapey and slinky and
Yeah, yeah.
lovely.
And I don't know if I'm gonna block it.
I don't know that you need to block it.
Maybe if I laid it out and I just like sprayed it a little bit.
Yeah. Or hit it with a steam.
Yeah, it depends on how the border ends up.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that is the nice thing I think about crochet blankets is that I'm terrible and have never blocked any of my crochet blankets.
Well,
I
mine
kind of just
sit in a
make them
bag,
and go.
So mine just sit in a bag.
You're like, so long as it's folded and like the weight will block it out.
Whatever. It's
But
just
you
sitting
can
there.
also block each circle individually before you join them.
Oh my god, no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I mean, it's like they are a little bit wonky and stuff, but seriously, as soon as you start to put them in there, they
You put the
snap
edging in and
right into shape.
and I think that might also be kind of the join as you go, is that it really kind of pulls it.
Yeah.
into-
And it's the join as you go is so great because it's super flat,
It is.
but it's
a
also
great
like
join.
super flexible and
You don't get a weird ridge. You get like a nice delineation.
yeah, and they
and like
yeah,
it's great.
yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so
This
much
was
for
so
having
delightful,
me.
and we hope that you'll be a guest again and show off your
Anytime.
progress.
Anytime.
And I'm really excited for the embroidery one.
I know, me too. I hope it works out.
Oh, it's gonna work out.
I mean, I was, like sometimes you take a chance on these things, and you're like, I had an idea, maybe it'll work out. But
and
I
if
think
if it doesn't, you can fold it and put it away.
yeah, whatever, right?
Right, it'll be fine.
It's just- and you know what, embroidery is so cheap compared.
Embroidery, yeah. Oh yeah. If you're doing this on a budget, 100% do an embroidery one. Because
Well, and
it's
also,
like
honestly,
18 skeins of embroidery floss.
It's
You're gonna end up being
and actually all the floss I have was stashed too.
I mean, or just go to Cara's house and like
I got
shop her
plenty.
stash.
Exactly. I mean, and also too, like these blankets don't have to be super expensive. You can
No.
use like,
Pick a workhorse yarn,
Yeah.
pick smaller color ranges.
yeah, totally.
Like
You
be
don't
super
need
flexible.
18 colors. You don't need, and you also don't need to use 3 colors a day.
No.
You can do like
You can do
your
one
project. You
can
can
have
do one
10
color.
colors.
Yeah. So I mean, there's it really is the most flexible project. Anybody can do it. Everybody can find what they love, and
It's the best kind of project.
yeah, it's so good. I love it.
Yes.
There's just so many choices.
I know.
Although I will say this, it does get a little when I was ending my year and I knew that I had 3 projects.
Rebound.
No, well, I was very sad to finish.
Yeah.
But I knew that I had the 3 coming, at least 3. But it was hard to like pick all the, like, I have to pick all these colors. You know, when you pull out 90 colors of
Gorgeous knitted wit.
Yeah, and you have to like choose and narrow it down. And
This is why you make all the decisions up front. And you pick a mind space where you're like, okay, I can make these decisions.
And
then you can catch up.
So that was kind of like, that was a little bit intimidating. But then it was fine. And I like, was like, okay, today I'm going to pick these colors.
And then you have a year of
just,
following the rules.
I know. And my last thing I'm going to say is that when I was making that blanket, the 2021 blanket, there was never, ever, ever, and I say this completely sincerely, never a time where I felt like, oh, I can't believe I decided to do this, or that it was a burden in any way. It was pure joy. Every single time I sat down to make those circles and put them together. I mean, maybe sometimes the putting together was a little bit like, okay, I have the circles, but never once did I ever feel like giving it up. Never once did I feel like I don't want to finish this, or this isn't what I want it to be. I was literally happy the entire time I made it.
Love that.
I know, and that's very lucky.
That is.
I don't think that happens.
I don't think it happens in a project that often, but when it does, I just feel like it's so special. And then also, every time you pick that up, you're going to be like, this is like joy in a blanket.
And it came, and it came out so well. I mean, not that I'm tooting my own horn.
No, it came out beautifully.
It really, like,
she should toot her own horn.
It just sort of like opened up things for me. I'm like, I'm sitting here talking to you. I wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't for this. And I wrote that article and everything. So it's very, very special project to me. Very, very, very special. And
don't put it in a bag. Display it. That's the one that you should display.
So
it's the one that started it all.
Can I put my kids in a bag?
Yeah.
And make sure they don't go near it?
Yeah.
Even my husband, he would probably step on it or something.
Oh, yeah. I'm in a house with 2 boys and 1 man and then 2 boy cats. I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Any blanket I have.
Well, I don't know. Teenage girls are not so much better either.
No one has any makeup too.
No one ever can tell their personal space. So
no, they're all like puppy piles. And then all of a sudden they're fighting, and it's like, this is a 6-person couch. How is one 13-year-old taking up the whole thing?
See, that's me. I take up the whole couch because I have
I'm a grown-up.
I know, but I have all my crafts. Yeah,
right.
It's really.
No, this is just him all over.
I know.
Oh, children, God bless them. Love them until they annoy me. Then I don't. Oh, well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And honestly, if you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram.
Comment below, guys. Any questions?
And I'm happy to answer.
Check out Cara on Instagram. If I didn't
cover everything, and
start your temperature blanket and tag her.
Yeah, and you don't have to don't think that it's too late.
No. You can start this in June.
Yeah, seriously, because you'll catch up real fast.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't have to wait every day for the temperature.
Right? Because then historical data.
Exactly.
It's all about the historical data.
Yeah, so I'm
awesome.
definitely going to go back and make a 2020 blanket with a more muted rainbow. So that each year my rainbow gets brighter until it's burning out your retinas. And I'm going to do it until the
pandemic
ends.
That's great.
And that
so when the pandemic ends, it's going to be neon.
Exactly.
I love it.
Well, maybe we won't have to get that far.
I know. Maybe it'll just shift it.
Maybe this will be the year.
Maybe this will be the year. Not good. It's not good.
So yeah.
That's awesome. And don't forget to go follow Cara at January 1 on Instagram, and like and subscribe here. Follow us on Ravelry, and let us know if you're planning to make a temperature blanket or a temperature project or embroidery or whatever, because we'd love to hear about it. And we will see you soon.
And come visit Yarnia.
Yes, come visit Yarnia. She can say that, I can't say that. I mean, I'll say it anyway.
Come visit Yarnia.
Bye, guys.
Bye.